Welcome everybody to the Tristen Law Show. If it is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I am Tristen Law. Today I want to start this podcast episode off remembering the life of Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster. He was a pro wrestler, a really bad man, in the ring back in the day. And he passed away this morning. I had the pleasure of meeting him about 2 years ago. He was at an independent pro wrestling show, East Coast Pro Wrestling. He was there with a good friend, Andrew Anderson, who's also a pro wrestler. And I remember Kevin Sullivan watching my match and complimenting me on my match and giving me some tips and telling me that I was doing a good job. So rest in peace to Kevin Sullivan. Our hearts are with any friends, family that are affected by the loss of Kevin Sullivan. He was born in 1949, passed away this morning. And Kevin, thank you for everything. Thank you for the time that you gave me, and appreciate what you did. Thank you very much. Today we're going to be talking about how women changed the game in pro wrestling. It's definitely a topic that I've been thinking about doing for a long time, for a couple weeks now, and I'm glad that I can finally bring that to fruition so that everybody can see it. Work real hard here at the Tristen Law Show, putting on the podcast and brainstorming and getting things done just to get this done. A lot of people say that podcasting, the way that I do it, doesn't work. Because, live streaming is, once you do it, you throw it away. But you guys have not thrown me away. You guys have been subscribing to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you subscribing. If it's your first time here, smash the subscribe button. It's a compliment for me to show me that you like what I'm doing. But how did women change the pro wrestling game? In the early days of pro wrestling, female wrestlers were often seen as like the sideshow attraction, performing at carnivals and fairs. You would have the woman, and you would have I'm not trying to be disrespectful with this term that I'm going to use, but you would also have midget wrestlers. That's what they were called. Little people wrestlers. You would have those two classes of people, I guess, at the carnival shows, and they were like the additional entertainment, right? That was when you would take a break and you would go and get your popcorn or stretch your feet or different things like that. Pioneers, though, like Mildred Burke, she faced challenges by men, but the way that she overcame the challenges was by being good at what she did in the ring. She had to worry about sexism. She had to worry about limited opportunities in the pro wrestling ring. But the thing that really made her stand out above the rest was the crowd. The women were more objectified than respected, and their efforts began to change public perception, laying the groundwork for women wrestling to become a respected part of the sport. Yes, to me, pro wrestling is a sport. When you look at the new age of wrestling, we're not really talking about what's happening now, but women were in bra and panties matches. Women were in evening gown matches. Women were valets. Women didn't get paid enough. The opportunities were very limited with the women. They were novelty acts. Obviously, pro wrestling was a male-dominated sport, and the women struggled real hard to gain the respect and legitimacy. They had to fight against stereotypes. Because hey, it's a woman. A woman belongs in the kitchen. But no, women didn't belong in the kitchen. Women didn't belong at home. If women want to be in the pro wrestling ring, they should be able to stand in the pro wrestling ring. Looking at the beginning of the women's revolution in the I guess in the WWE, in pro wrestling as a whole. I think it started a little bit before in doing the Attitude Era. You had people like Trish Stratus. You had people like Lita, Jacqueline. You know, they were really good wrestlers, and they were objectified or put into a corner where they had to do these degrading matches. They weren't getting paid as much as the men, and they had to pretty much be sex. Sex sells. However, in the TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, in mid-2000s, they were the number 2 company in the United States, and they were trying to stand out from the WWE. And they featured really good women wrestlers. When WWE was focusing on the likes of John Cena and Randy Orton, Triple H, and Edge, TNA was focusing on the women. You had their Knockouts division, that's what they call their women's division. The Knockouts division, you were able to see awesome wrestlers like Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, and Angelina Love. The women's revolution really began in the gaining transaction in the WWE in February 23rd of 2015. It was after a 30-second match between the Bella Twins and Emma and Paige on an episode of Monday Night Raw. And this sparked backlash from the fans. The thing is that they got 30 seconds to go out there and do what they did. That's not enough time to tell any story. And like, it's for all that for 30 seconds. Why even want to get dressed? It's very demoralizing it's very disheartening if you had to do a pro wrestling match. You got dressed, you sat in the back, and right before you go out, they go, oh, you only got 30 minutes left. Okay, I'm back. There was a little sound that was killing me. So then the hashtag Give Divas a Chance sparked on Twitter, and it trended for nearly 2 days. It highlighted pro wrestling fans with their dissatisfaction with how WWE treated the women's division. And what that did was it forced the WWE to put the women in the spotlight to where they deserve. So some of the things that were started to change in the WWE, and the reason why I'm going to talk a lot about the WWE is because the WWE, whether you want to believe it or not, they are the trend setters for pro wrestling. So if they are doing something and it's working, everybody else is going to follow suit. So in case you didn't know, WWE has a, I guess it's the minor leagues for them, right? That's where you go to become really good until you get called up to the main roster. And it's called NXT. NXT started featuring young women wrestlers such as Sasha Banks, who's now known as Mercedes Moné. You had Charlotte Flair, the second generation pro wrestler, daughter of Ric Flair. You had Becky Lynch, who is now an awesome author. I read her book. It was awesome. And you also had Bayley. Those 4 ladies helped to usher in NXT and women's pro wrestling and putting it in the forefront of where it belonged. Some of those landmark matches that you would have involving those women would be NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2015. That took place our SummerSlam weekend. You had Sasha and Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship. It was an 18-minute match. 18 minutes. They've came a long way from doing 30 seconds to an 18-minute match. One of the other landmark matches that they had was October 7th, 2015. Bayley and Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, they competed in the first ever WWE Iron Man match, and it featured the 2 best of the best when it came to women at the time, and that was at NXT TakeOver. Respect. Another landmark match or moment for the women in pro wrestling is WrestleMania 32. April 3rd, 2016, you had Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch to crown the inaugural women's champion. At that time, female wrestlers were called divas. And the belt that they wrestled for was a butterfly belt called the Divas Championship. They stopped calling the female wrestlers divas and started calling them superstars to align them with the men. And they got rid of that, ladies belt and the butterfly belt, the girly belt, and gave them a belt that was on par with the men. The the WWE Royal. When I went to my first WWE event, it was Extreme Rules 2007 in Jacksonville, Florida. I remember when the ladies came out, and the reason why I thought of that is because looking at all the cool things that the ladies started doing in the ring. When the ladies were in the ring, that was a time when there was nobody sitting in the arena. Everybody left to go get popcorn. And as a pro wrestler, it sucks when nobody's really watching your match. You're literally there to perform. You're there to perform your art, your craft, and everybody decided, we're going to go get popcorn. And rightfully so, because those matches weren't long enough. And I think at that time, the matches were structured as a break within the show. But the ladies started definitely becoming much better wrestlers, and they started becoming more than tits and ass. And I love that. Some of the cultural impact with the WWE Women's Revolution is women started going to pro wrestling schools. That's awesome that women started going to pro wrestling schools. I remember around that time when I was in, I was in ECPW and I was training a little bit like that. It was awesome because there are women that are sitting at home wanting to do this, wanting to get in the ring, wanting to be held to the same exact standard caliber of the men. But they don't want to because what they're seeing on TV is their female counterparts being treated like eye candy, like tits and ass. And that's not what they wanted to do. So then now once you see your inspiration on TV, you say, hey, you know what? If those girls are getting a shot, I want a shot too. Believe me when I tell you there are women right now in pro wrestling that are in there because of what happened in the beginning of the women's revolution with Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. The trickle-down effect is definitely to the indies. I remember at one time that when women came around pro wrestling, it was very, very, very rare that you would see a woman that's actually good in the ring. And they were sometimes, propositioned by the promoters or by the wrestling school teachers. I don't know any of this firsthand, but this is stories that I've heard from other women that have been in the pro wrestling business, but they were not treated appropriately. There were some women actually who came into pro wrestling just to get men. Okay, I'm not saying that's wrong. Whatever you do is what you do. Okay, but they didn't really belong in the wrestling business because they weren't there for the right way. Some of the other trickle-down effect and changes in the industry was the WWE Women's Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble match typically features 30 wrestlers, with the winner earning a world championship match at WrestleMania. Originally a male-only contest, the first ever Women's Royal Rumble was introduced in 2018 by Raw Commissioner Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon is the daughter of WWE previous owner Vince McMahon, and she made sure that was the first event to include Rumble matches. And right now, the Women's Royal Rumble match is now a standard. Another change in the industry that we can look at is the WWE Evolution event. Evolution was a groundbreaking women's wrestling pay-per-view produced by the WWE, featuring wrestlers from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and NXT UK. It was held on October 28th, 2018 at the Nassau Veterans Coliseum in Long Island. And it was the first and only WWE pay-per-view event exclusively consisting of women's matches. So looking at the future of pro wrestling, some people after the Evolution event, one of the things that they really wanted is an all-woman show. Honestly, I disagree that women should have an all-woman show. Let me tell you why. I'm looking at this from a thing of segregation, okay? Obviously, segregation is something that I am not a fan of. If you can't figure out why, make sure you're looking at the camera. And I feel that if the women want to be, or rightfully, they should be in the same exact conversation of the men, they should have their own show. If you take the woman and put them on their own separate show, I really feel that it's kind of a small step backwards, but a half step, forward as well too. But I'm not a fan of that. However, there is already an all-women's promotion. WOW, Wow, Women's of Wrestling. It's not really too popular, but if you can find it, it's worth the watch. You have people like Lacey Evans on there, and she's doing her thing. The future of pro wrestling also sees women running pro wrestling schools. The last woman that I can think of running a pro wrestling school and training people was the fabulous Moolah. No, was it Mae Young? Might have been Mae Young. Yes, Mae Young. The fabulous Moolah. She was running wrestling schools and teaching women how to become wrestlers. Right now, the only woman that I know that's running a pro wrestling school is Natalia Neidhart, Natty Neidhart. She is the daughter of WWE Hall of Famer Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And she is running a wrestling school where you see on Instagram where she's training. She trains with people that are already in the business. It's nobody really brand new, but it's still a wrestling school nonetheless. Looking at Threads, I always present questions to people on Threads because Threads is very popular for me. And the question that I asked everybody on Threads was, who do you think is the most influential female wrestler of all time? And let's take a look at some of the comments that I got. So we got Dracon_lifts. He says you can't overlook the entire impact of Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young. Everyone that people name owes it to them. The Blaze, Alundra Blaze of the world took it to another level and made your Chynas, Rhea Ripleys, and Beth Phoenixes do what they do. I agree. Fabulous Moolah, despite and Mae Young, despite what people can say about them, I think they definitely were trailblazers at the time. And I feel that, they should definitely get their flowers. Let's take a look at another comment. This one is from Head of the Table 2324 on Threads. And he said, Chyna, for damn sure. The perfect blend of kick-ass with a blend of feminism. A true trailblazer. Yes, Chyna, 100% for sure. Definitely was ahead of her time. She started out as a manager with Triple H, who is now one of the big wigs in WWE, making WWE so awesome. And Chyna was a pro wrestler. She trained to be a pro wrestler, and she often wrestled with the men. Obviously, when you look, she was a head and shoulders above some of the women. But yeah, she's definitely a trailblazer. Her blend of feminism definitely comes from her being in Playboy magazine. And I was a teenager, and I had no business reading that. Looking at another comment that I got from Threads is from I Am Wildy B. She says, obviously Chyna is up there, but she was a physical anomaly and spent a lot of time working with the men. I think that Becky Lynch and the Horsewomen are Bayley, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and obviously Becky Lynch. The Horsewoman will exceed her influence due to them raising the ceiling for women more than anyone before them and with a more lasting impact, hopefully. Yep, shout out to her for that comment. Let's see what else we got out there from the world of Threads. Everybody is voicing their comment. Let's see what else we got here. We got, this is a good one. Reverend_Redbeard, he said, it's a toss-up, but I will say Chyna. Despite the mistreatment that she got from WWE, I don't think wrestling would be what it is today without her. Yeah, I agree. And when they're talking about the mistreatment, if you watch I suggest that you watch the WWE documentary based on Chyna, and it talks about, some of the stuff that happened to her towards the end of her life. She was dating Triple H, and whatever happened, and they were no longer together. And Triple H went on to marry Stephanie McMahon. But ever since then, Chyna was kind of floundering. And I think Chyna passed away definitely way too soon. Looking at, this one's a different one. This is from Crows Indifferent area codes, crows in different area codes. I like that. He votes for Minami Toyota. Minami Toyota is a retired Japanese pro wrestler, and she was big in All Japan Pro Wrestling. So yeah, she definitely did her thing. You see men like El Hijo del Vikingo doing moves that she did 30 years ago. Let's see what else we got from Threads. Thank you for your comment. Let's see what else we got from Threads. We got one from Chikiro Cooks. It's China. Looks like China's the winner today. But we can't understand the impact of women. We can't understate the impact of women like Sensational Sherry, Luna Vachon, Alundra Blaze, Trish Stratus, and Lita. Yes, 100%. Yes, we talked about China so much, but you also had Luna Vachon. Luna Vachon was she was the only woman in the WWF Raw game from 1993. She came out there with her head shaved and had a tattoo on the side of her head. Alundra Blaze was known for going to WCW with the Women's Championship from the WWF and throwing it in the trash on Monday Night Raw. She was known as Medusa. Trish Stratus and Lita went on to main event one of the first main events on Monday Night Raw. They main evented Monday Night Raw as women, and I think that's fantastic. Looking at another comment from Threads, we got Blue Suede Shoes checking in. He says, that depends when I'm asking who do you think is the most influential female wrestler of all time. China would be the obvious answer for being most influential in general, but he has to give it to Trish Stratus and Lita because they were both still part of the Divas era. They were the ones who started making people take women wrestlers in the WWE a little more seriously. Lita's high-flying move, Trish Stratus's rivalry with Mickie James, and that brought out her best wrestling. They both showed that you can be sexy and still kick ass. Look, girls, ain't nothing wrong being sexy and kicking ass too. The last comment comes in from, he called her Charlie. For her, it's China also. She was in middle school at the time, and when China was coming up, it was super cool for her to see a strong female wrestler that the male wrestlers took seriously. Thank you very much, everybody, for commenting on Threads on the topic. You can always follow me at Threads at The Real Big Tris. I support that. I ask that you do. We have a real fun time there talking about wrestling. I don't use Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I just use Threads. Threads works for me. I got my corner. My corner is pro wrestling. And if you want to be in my corner, come and follow me. Women's pro wrestling right now is awesome. I never had a female pro wrestler who I liked other than, she was cute, until the women's revolution started coming. I love seeing people like Charlotte Flair. I love seeing, people all over the pro wrestling industry do their thing woman-wise and dominate it like they should. But keep the discussion coming. If you're watching this, drop it in the comments. Let me know who you think is the most influential female wrestler of all time. If there's a topic that you want me to talk about, put it in the comments. Why not put it in the comments and let me know how you feel about everything that's going on. But this is the Tristen Law Show. I am Tristen Law. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. It's the biggest compliment that you can give me. I definitely appreciate that. I'll be back on Tuesday at noon Eastern time with another episode of the Tristen Law Show. I'm Tristen Law. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy your weekend.